I call Senator Rennick.
Thank you, Acting Deputy President. And I rise today to speak against the Labor's decision to stop the development of McPhillamys gold mine out near Orange. But first of all, I'd just like to acknowledge the people of Orange in the central west there of New South Wales. It's a beautiful city, and it's a city that's very close to my heart. It's where my parents got married, and it's where my grandmother and aunt are buried. And I spent my childhood driving up and down the Newell Highway from Chinchilla, spending many holidays in that beautiful town of Orange. So a big shout out there. And I just want to qualify that my support for this mine will only ever be there provided it has met all environmental approvals for the mine, because Orange sits there at the headwaters of the Lachlan River. And I know one of my cousins would have my guts for garters if he loves fishing over there around Orange. He's a big fisherman. So by all means, let the mine go ahead, but we definitely don't want to destroy any of the environment around that beautiful part of the world in the central west. It's fantastic. And can I also acknowledge the gold industry, because it is one of the forgotten minerals of Australia's massive export sector when it comes to minerals. Of course, iron ore and coal are the top two minerals, but the next mineral after that is gold. And I think 3 or 4 years ago, gold exports were valued at about $22 billion, and that was when gold was about $2,000 an ounce. It's now worth about $3,700 an ounce, so I'd expect it to be heading above $30 billion anytime soon. And if iron ore comes off, and far be it from me to start predicting the price of metals, but we do need other metals out there and other ways to make sure we keep generating export income, and gold is certainly one of those metals, especially given the value of the US debt at something like $35 trillion and rising by $1 trillion every quarter. People are suddenly starting to see the value in that, the world's oldest currency, gold itself, because it's always acted as a hedge against the irresponsible behaviour of central banks who are used as a means for governments to act responsibly. Instead of going out to the market and issuing bonds, they just rely on their central bank to buy their bonds. And we've seen the consequences of that over the last 2 decades, ever since the GFC. But anyway, I digress. I'll come back to the MPI. And my issue with this particular decision is that it doesn't seem to express the opinions of all Aboriginals in the area. Indeed, the local Orange, or according to reports, I haven't spoken to these people myself, but there seems to be some disagreement amongst the Aboriginals themselves, the Aboriginal communities themselves, as to who's responsible for making those decisions. And I guess this is the problem when you come to cultural heritage and where you don't have clear title, is who gets to make the decisions. Is it this Aboriginal group or that Aboriginal group? Senator McDonald before mentioned the EDI, the Environmental Defenders Office, was funding the group that opposes the mine. Are these people genuine locals, or are they activists from the city pretending to be locals? And one of the reasons why this mine has been stopped is because of cultural practices. However, these cultural practices have to remain commercial. They're not commercial in confidence, they are confidential. And I always get a little bit cynical when I hear about people talk about, commercial in confidence. It has to stay in confidence. I'm not quite sure what cultural practice you would have that has to be confidential. It doesn't make a lot of sense to me. But as much as I do love the great city of Orange, jobs are important out there, and jobs don't come by every day. And if towns like Orange don't get these opportunities, albeit it's close to Sydney, so I know a lot of empty, people, retirees like to move out there. They have to find ways to keep their local population employed, or people move out of the town, and we don't want to see that happen out there in the central west. And so we've got to consider the jobs that this will provide, and as well as that, for the New South Wales government, I read that it's going to provide $200 million just in royalties, and there's a fair bet if it's going to provide $200 million in royalties, there'll be another $200 million in payroll tax delivered to the state government. There'll be hundreds of millions in corporate tax. There'll be more money in the PAYG that the workers pay back to the federal government. So we've got to make the best of these opportunities, especially in an area like this, because just down the road, indeed, it was Bathurst that was the site of one of Australia's first gold discoveries. It's been an industry that's been with us for almost 200 years, and we need to protect it and our regions.
Authorised G. Rennick People First Chermside.